Hello, everybody. This is Two Queers in a Truck. It is June 8th, the second Wednesday of the month already. We said this earlier. It's like, it doesn't seem like it should already be 2 weeks in the International Pride Month. It should be 2 weeks into June already. It just didn't, like, it seems like it just got here. And just like, boom, all of a sudden we're in the Pride Month. But anyway,
That's
hey, Christian, how you doing?
Hey, Boo. How are you? Long time no see.
Oh, yeah, it's been forever, at least 5 minutes.
That's right. That's right.
For a lot of people who don't know, if you just watch this show and don't watch the other show that we do, we film these back to back so that we can get them all knocked out and edited for Wednesday, which is interesting. So anyway, this is Two Queers in a Truck, and we're going to get right into it. This is going to be a rapid fire show. So right away, the first topic is Puerto Rico doesn't count because it doesn't speak American. And Super Genius, MTG, our favorite. Yeah, so MTG didn't know that, or I don't know what exactly happened, because I'm not quoting that person. But MTG, over the last few days, said that Puerto Rico was not part of the United States, or didn't know that Puerto Rico was part of the United States. Mm-hmm. So she pulled a Trump. But anyway, it just I guess kind of makes me giggle in a way, because I'm like, so many Americans don't know that Puerto Rico and even states like New Mexico are part of the United States. Just so everybody knows, if you watch this show, I'm going to give you a little geography lesson. And Jenny, Professor Jenny, is going to give you a geography lesson. So New Mexico, for example, has been a state since 1912. It joined the United States the same year as Arizona did. So both are American states. They've been an American state for over 100 years. Mm-hmm. Puerto Rico was gained by the United States from Spain. Mm-hmm. In the Spanish-American War in 1898. One of the land prizes, I guess, or whatever you would call it, is that we won Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico has been a province and territory of the United States since the 1890s. So just for you geography challenged people, that you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. You can fly in there because it is a territory, just like Guam, American Samoa, and many other American territories that aren't quite a state yet, maybe don't want to be part of the United States post-Trump. But anyway, I think it's half racism and just half, it just tells you, it's typically conservatives that say that. Like some of my family said that when, as a kid, we moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico for a couple of years. And they were saying, "Are you free to live in, Mexico full time?" I'm like, "It's New Mexico. It's New Mexico, boo-boo." Yeah. I was like 10 or 11 years old. I'm explaining geography. These are to adults. Yeah. And my family that maybe just weren't the smartest ones in the family, But it's
and now they have a leader in MTG. So it's like she's like the queen of the dummies.
I mean it's kind of sad. Like you would have seen them with propeller hats on and just march around with a big old clown pants and big floppy shoes and stuff. It's just it's kind of, I mean, that part's kind of entertaining, except for the racism part. Yeah. But the overall, you just will look at that and go, God, you're dumb. And you also remind Puerto Rico why they don't want to become a state. I mean, I think sometimes when we say, well, we should make Puerto Rico the 51st state and Washington, D.C. the 52nd. And I think sometimes Puerto Rico goes, I kind of like this in between status. We don't have to see you as much. If we become
I'm going to ask you this again. It's like a recording, Jenny. I don't understand why people who doesn't anyone love MTG enough, like I say about Ted Cruz, to say you're stupid. Shut up.
Well,
she doesn't have a family member. She doesn't have like a best friend, a BFF. I mean,
I think she has the same disease that Trump has. Very controlling, likes to run their mouth, and unfortunately, she's in the wrong job for that. She really, number one, she's not smart enough to do the job, but two, she doesn't know that she should have a staffer do her Twitter and operate over social media, and that they should edit her, not to keep her from saying something, but just really to just, not that I want to get her reelected. I'm hoping Marcus Flowers resoundingly beats her.
Yeah.
And is actually, though, that district in Georgia will get a qualified representative instead of a unqualified inbred hillbilly. But I think that they have people in their life that will say something, and when they do, they get fired. I mean, you saw Trump run through massive amounts over just the first 2 years, even before the pandemic.
But there's always, there's got to be someone in her family. If it's not her husband, her kid, there's got to be someone in the family that, and I say, they need to love you enough to say, you're like, I hope, Jenny, I hope you love me enough when I act a fool to say, Christian, you're acting a fool.
But I think the difference between us as progressives
is
that we expect each other to hold each other accountable. Like, progressives behind the scene are pretty hard on each other. They really are. We're pretty unrelenting. Versus that cult of a political party that it's turned into is primarily just yes people. And I think the second thing is, when it comes to her family, I think they love it when she goes back to Washington, D.C. They don't really care what she says. Can you imagine being married to that? I'd be saying, "Oh, honey, I'll take care of the house back in Georgia. You go on. You go on to like
as he's on Tinder and Grindr." Especially Grindr.
But I think it's just like Ted Cruz's family. I don't think his wife. I think even the dog probably went when they left the dog in the freezing weather. And he's probably went, but at least Ted's not here.
Exactly.
So it's topic number 2, because that was the alarm to keep the train moving. My enemy of my enemy is really just an idiot. So Milo Yiannopoulos, formerly gay, conservative Republican mouthpiece, that was Trump's buddy for a while. He's gotten a lot of hot water. He just got hired as MTG's intern for whatever.
Yep.
But one of the reasons that he has to be an intern with them, he got fired from Breitbart, and he got banned from events like CPAC. One, because Milo was defending pedophilia and rationalizing pedophiles. And so even
I missed that.
There's a whole episode on it, actually.
Okay. Wow.
They weren't so mad that now he calls his husband now his housemate, or a couple other really weird things. But one, I think it's really bizarre that this dude that's not from Georgia all of a sudden has gotten hired by MTG, I guess as a publicity stunt for herself.
That's what it sounds like.
But also, too, the fact that your standards are so low and you're so incompetent that you're a reporter for Breitbart and you got fired by Breitbart. And you got banned from CPAC. And they've got people that do Hitler salutes at CPAC. So, So what do you think this is? What do you think this is about?
I mean, you have a good point, because interns are usually people from their district that go to, like, young people who are trying to get into government or something, and they
or they're a local. They're going to Georgetown University.
Yes, exactly.
Outside of DC.
George Mason,
or major, or a public policy major, and they're popping in a few days a week or a few days a month, trying to learn the thing. Because some people might not know that the House of Representatives and each senator has a huge staff, a huge paid staff, and then they usually have some
huge.
Because they're essentially they're like middle management to upper management of our government is the best way to put it. So there's no executive that only has a team of one. You have assistants, and you have departments and all that. So they have their own little departments or mini department. And so this Milo, I think for one, he's been in the news so much, and he's just so controversial.
She wanted that publicity.
And of course, she's known for being anti-LGBT.
Yeah.
So I think it's a whole lot of layered stupidity. Yeah. But he also has a tendency to say really stupid things. So at the very least, she gets somebody in her office that will actually say stupider stuff than she does.
It might make her look not as
like, it's almost like, if you want to distract from your own grenade throwing, hire another person that's an expert.
Look over here. Look over here. Look over here.
Because this Milo party, at one point, I think it was in 2020, was out on some cruise and threw his ring overboard and said, "I'm not gay anymore. My husband's now just my roommate or housemate or whatever he calls it." And then he went on this rant about, rationalizing pedophilia that he claims that he was also molested when he was 14 by a priest. So some very bizarre, not only inconsistencies and just creepiness with this dude. And I think too, she's also trying to talk about gay men as groomers. And so she's been doing that groomer deal. And obviously, I think Milo's had some controversial, allegedly some underage lovers as well. And so I think there's just a whole crock pot of idiocy. They're a match made in heaven. Like that could definitely be her gay husband. And all the more reason it feeds the fact that I think her husband probably stays behind in Georgia is that Milo will become her plus one to everything, and he's kind of a celebrity, and she wants to be a celebrity.
Yeah, that's really what she sounds like, Jenny. I mean, you and I both know that she's on no committees. All she can do is she can vote, but she's on no committees. She has no power. Yeah, she has no power. So really, the only reason she ran for Congress was because she wanted to be like a social media celebrity. Remember we talked about it? Republicans don't have the skill set to be artists, sports people, newscasters. So they go into politics. That's how they become a celebrity.
And she's another not a low key, but an off-brand Trump, basically, from Georgia. I think she's had several businesses, and I think most of them have failed. She's a miserable person to be around. So why not go into politics? So she's just belligerent enough to stay in the news all the time and be so obnoxious in a fairly rural district where they're going, none of us really want the job. And if she's dumb enough to go to D.C., we'll just send her back. And I think that's she's kind of the best of the worst, and hopefully her district does, for the sake of their district, pick Marcus over her. One would hope. But some of her stuff is funny. Some of her stuff is the point where you go, if it wasn't so cringy, it would be funny. But we're going to take a break right now, and we'll come right back.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
We are back for more Two Queers in a Truck. We are going to go to our third helping of this craziness. But basically, looking at this as the sunny side up portion of the show. Many times we get on pretty intense subjects, and here of late, it seems like it's been very intense. This one is things that are turning the right way. I will say that we've had massive court victories this week in Arizona and Louisiana. Okay. We have several races for for governors and senators that were unthinkable, unwinnable, just one or two election cycles ago, that are literal statistical dead heats. And with the Democrat challengers surging and coming from behind. Val Demings is in a statistical dead heat with Marco Rubio.
Oh, wow.
Our phenomenal senatorial candidate, Justice Beasley. Statistical dead heat, and in some polls has her ahead of Bud at this point. Beto, it's statistical dead heat and surging with Abbott. And it goes on and on. There's many very, very powerful, high-profile races to where, and you don't hear that about any Republicans surging. That right now, and this could be why they're even getting a little louder, is because they realize this election is going to be about ending Trumpism, and we're even
that's what I think too. Yeah,
the courts have even agreed. There was a key court ruling in Arizona about mail-in ballots. They defended mail-in ballots, so mail-in ballots are still going to be used in Arizona this fall, which is huge. There was also a fairness thing about districts in Louisiana. They upheld the fair districts to the Democrats, and so two huge things. And there's also a strong Democratic candidate running against Joe Kennedy in Louisiana, the one that smoked weed in his first commercial. And I'm blanking on his name right now, but I can look him up real quick. And so you're seeing huge surges in the South, especially, which have been predominantly red states. We're seeing movement on sitting politicians.
Well, demographics are changing.
That are moving on the gun issue. We are seeing, despite how loud they are, I think it really just shows not an overconfidence, but I think they're compensating because they know they're losing. And they want to, when you're not confident, like on the sports field, I played sports for a long time. If you couldn't play, you trash talked.
Exactly. That's a wonderful analogy. Perfect. Yes.
If you cannot be competitive, you ran your mouth.
Yes.
And those type of players were the ones that I love going up against. If they were running their mouth in the first quarter, I'm like, oh, I own this person. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a long game for them. By the fourth quarter, just take it easy on me. Just don't hit me so hard, and just whatever. And I think that's what we're seeing from Republican candidates, which is good because they're scared, they're desperate, and we need to keep.
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah,
and just keep on pouring on the gas. So
that is some good news. That is good news. Finally.
Yeah. I think it's been turning more and more. I think people are overblowing some things that are just normal. Like inflation, we've gone through inflation before. We've gone from companies profiteering off tragedy. We saw that after 9/11. We saw a lot of companies using 9/11 as an excuse. One of the things that really caused one of the economic bubbles of the early 2000s. And we've seen companies exploit. Now it's the government's turn to do what they need to do. We need a windfall tax here on oil companies and big tech. And it'll take all the fun out of that. If we take that money and put it in people's pockets, I don't want it to go to another government program. I want it to go directly back to people in rebates. And then that will be the best thing for people that make under a certain amount of money, like they did with the stimulus. Just make it a windfall stimulus and just go, well, you're going to keep funding the stimulus till you bring the prices down and we see the windfall drop. Even though I think it needs to be a permanent thing. But I think, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind another stimmy check or two, or maybe a monthly one. I
wish that we had done that. I was very surprised that we got the first and the second ones. But I wish that we had done obviously more, because like I always say, we shouldn't feel guilty about wanting our own money back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? During tough times, it's our money. We're the ones that pay the taxes. Yeah. And so, it's almost like that J.G. Worth commercial you see, show me, I want my money, I want it now. It's like, we're the ones that pay the taxes.
We've been gaslit to believe that it belongs to an Elon Musk or
exactly
Bezos. And the truth is, they just borrow our money.
Yeah.
As a consumer, we're the ones that buy their stuff.
Mhm.
So the Walton family that owns Walmart, so on and so forth, they're the reason why we're billionaires.
Yeah.
That, and they pay very low wages too.
Yeah.
But anyway, the next one is it's time to deflate the gas balloon and stop price gouging of petroleum companies. These are some legit statistics for 2022. As of right now, year to date, Chevron's made an extra $6.3 billion over last year, 359% profit increase through June. Exxon, 104% increase in profits, $5.5 billion. British Petroleum, 138% profit increase, $6.2 billion. Shell Oil, 184% profit increase at $9.1 billion off the American people. These are just in the American market. And what that tells you is that they increase prices without needing to, that their wholesale cost didn't go up that much. And demand status is high.
So Jenny, you mentioned that on our other show, the coffee show, kind of briefly. I mean, it's like, it wouldn't happen if we wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. Like you said, I mean, I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point where, do you remember where there was the something Wall Street that occurred, those protests against Wall Street and all that kind of stuff?
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. I hope we have some type of national boycott day that, this day you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to use public transport. You're going to ride a bike just to show them.
Or quit ordering so much from Amazon.
Yeah.
Then sending it right back and breaking some of our really bad habits.
Yeah.
And if Amazon's going to have an easy
Can we start tomorrow?
Yeah. If Amazon's going to have such an easy return policy, then they need to pay a carbon credit, or they need to pay a carbon thing that goes directly to people, and it can't be offset by increasing prices. Some of these companies have developed bad habits to increase market share, which increases a tremendous amount of profit, but is killing this country.
But don't they deserve to earn a profit? I'm being devil's advocate.
I know they deserve to a point to where it becomes unhealthy. So just like anything, when you start cornering a market, so one of the things that's happening also too is that many of these very large companies, especially large tech companies, are cornering markets to where smaller businesses can't stay competitive anymore because they've recognized profits.
Do you think that maybe the states could implement some type of price gouging thing?
The federal government.
You know how during hurricanes? Yeah, I mean,
the federal.
It may be too late now because gas has doubled in a year.
Well, but you could do what the UK is doing, which is what they passed this week, which is putting a windfall tax on people and giving the money right back to them, and just literally doing a windfall stimulus. And we could do this with big tech. We could do this with all the Fortune 500 companies. If you make a certain amount of revenue and your profits increased a percentage, the second thing we need to do is outlaw corporate buyback stocks again. It used to be illegal. Then it got legalized a few years ago. It needs to be made illegal. There's a really cruel, vicious cycle of wealth grabbing by giving them the option to buy. They should not be able to buy back their own stocks. Once it goes on the open market, stay on the open market. And what it does is it forces better business practices. It usually does better ethics of business because you have an outside board instead of an inside board. And one of the reasons they do that, they sell it really high. Then it drops a little bit. They buy it back. When they get these big windfalls or these big stimulus packages, the third most important thing, never, ever, ever should we give big corporation stimulus packages unless they're on death's door. And and they can't use it for anything other than paying employees and keeping their infrastructure. It should not be used for bonuses for their top brass. It shouldn't be used for stock buybacks, which both of those happened during the pandemic relief programs and many other programs.
I mean, that's the big pushback right now with the airlines. The prices of tickets have gone up so much, and they're canceling flights because they're not, they don't have enough pilots. And what they're saying is that we gave them the money to prepare to come out of this, and they didn't do it well. The management did not manage it well.
So there's a case in point. Many of the big airlines, number one, they did big stock buybacks. Two, they paid huge dividends to their stockholders and bonused out their management, their non-pilot, their non-working staff deal, basically the leeches on these airlines, and the people that are making a lot of unearned, unjustified income. They laid off workers, flight attendants, pilots, all kinds of stuff, or furloughed them, cut their pay, so they never raised it back up. And so what happened was a few airlines that did treat their employees right got the best of the best. And some airlines never bounced back and are short staffed because they're like, well, I'm already here. I'm already over here. But this one airline, brand X, you're a brand Y, your business practices suck. I'm not leaving where I'm at. I've already changed once. I'm not going to change again. You know, still an ongoing global pandemic or endemic or whatever they call it now. So I think some of it takes care of itself, like that, like staffing changes where people hold them accountable that work for them. And I think some things is going to take government balancing out our economy and creating some best practices. This is our last break of the show, and then we'll be right back.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And we are back. And the two last subjects, both are going to be pride related. One, I'm super excited that the first openly transgender cheerleader happened with the Carolina Panthers. This week, huge news. Justine Simone Lindsay is not only North Carolina's first pro NFL cheerleader that's openly trans, she's the first Top Cat to be openly trans. And so, which is the cheerleading squad's called the Top Cats.
Oh, okay. So, I thought maybe.
She's a beautiful, amazingly talented woman of color, just amazing cheerleader, and congratulations to Justine for earning a spot on the permanent roster of
I didn't know that. That's wonderful. That's great.
It just happened a couple days ago on Monday, and it was big national news. Of course, there's so much going on. There's so much. It's hard to even keep track of everything. I subscribe to a lot of Twitter feeds that talk about the trans community in general. So obviously when that announcement was made, there was a bunch of my Twitter feeds that had an amazing amount of binging, more than normal. I'm like, something happened, and then I went on and I saw about 15 different posts about Justine, and I'm super excited. She just has an infectious smile and an amazing attitude. And I'm super excited considering how dangerous Charlotte's playing towards trans women of color. To have it be a trans woman of color that makes it on the squad is both inspirational and telling people you can do it despite being trans. You can do things despite being gay. You can still accomplish big things and be LGBT. And it's okay to fall back too. But it's also neat to see, after all these don't say gay bills and all these anti-trans kids bills, it's cool to see a win. It's for me personally, means a lot. And I'm very, very proud of Justine, and I wish her like all the big time success. And what a great time to announce it too in Pride Month of all things. You know? So it's like Charlotte Pride came early for Justine, and I look forward. I'm not really a football fan. I'm not really a Panthers fan per se. I don't hate them. I just didn't grow up in North Carolina. But I just became a little bit more of a Panthers fan this week because of that, and seeing the equity that ended out.
Well, they need some.
I mean, and that a team that has had some controversy and really connecting with the community at times.
Yeah.
And we've seen this both with the basketball team and the football team, where both owners have been called out repeatedly about not really doing right by the community, not connecting with the community. It's neat to see something like that happen. Not that the owner of the Panthers was saying we need a trans girl, a trans woman on our cheerleading squad, but he didn't block it either. And I think
because he could have.
I could have just said, only cis women.
I don't want to do that. Yeah,
he could have behind the scenes could have never let her try out. And probably could have gotten away with it.
So do you think they knew? I mean, I don't know if you know the story, because I don't know it. But did you think they knew when she was trying out, or have you heard anything about that? Or
I didn't read the article in depth enough, which I needed to. But in full disclosure, we recorded this show. We pre-recorded the show, and the news broke late today. And by the time I got caught up with it, I do believe that she was out. I do believe that the organizer.
Wow, that's really.
I don't think
I'm impressed.
I don't think she went into tryout stealth. Now, I don't think all the other cheerleaders or potential cheerleaders knew.
She's
very young. Yeah. She's very young. She blends in very well. She just looks like another pretty young woman, is what she looks like. And it's because she is. I do like the fact that she shaves her head. And so she's got this clean, smooth look. I love that for women's progress too, that you can wear the style that makes you feel fit. There's a power in it. She has a very infectious smile. Like, she's got a very vivacious personality. I saw a little bit of video of her, and she's on Instagram, and she's all over Instagram and Twitter today. And I was able to see multiple.
That's good news.
And all the articles and all the feedback was positive. So that was another nice thing. There was not.
For now.
Yeah, for now. I mean, there's going to be some people that are going to, I'm not going to buy no season tickets because I got a trans girl.
Exactly.
But, they probably couldn't afford them anyway. But, just stay there in your cave, I mean, but I do like to see that all around, every part of the story from what I've read today, seems to be very positive by it.
Yeah.
And it's so rare nowadays that a positive story like that actually catches some bandwidth.
Hey, Jen, that's kind of what I was going to tell you, that how you feel about it, because I've been seeing here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live and you live, on the local news stations, I've seen quite a lot of talking about this is Pride Month, this is Pride, these are events going on, and it's like, I mean, it's I hate to say it like this, but it just seems very normal. Not because I don't want to say like it's not normal, but it just seemed the way they're doing it was like, this is no big deal. Just want to let you know there's pride and all that kind of stuff. So do you think this anti-gay sentiment that, like, for me, I'm upset about it because I know there are people that it's impacting that I love. But like, for me, sometimes I sit back and I go, that's just stupid. You know what I mean? And
so I think when you talk about something like that, for example, we have to think about and this is the same way with guns and the same way with reproductive rights. The majority of Americans are for LGBT rights and being banded and being protected. They're for reproductive rights, and they're for gun control. Yeah, because most people in America have common sense. They're not the dirty Santas of the world. They're not sitting there twitching, living in their grandma's basement, blowing up the Twitter feed with 5 different bot accounts. Is that most people have a life, and they just go, "This is just common sense." And I think we've gotten to a place in the 21st century where people sometimes maybe assume we have more rights than we have. Yeah. And because they may be a cis white male or cis white female, and I go, well, we've got tons of rights, but they forget that they're at the top of the food chain. Yeah. And so a lot of people in the public kind of forget or go asleep at the wheel a little bit But I also think too that Pride's become so mainstream and so commercialized, which is good and bad. The good part is that for the most part, the general public supports Pride organizations and LGBT organizations at the highest level we've ever seen, which helps when we do have to fight these state-to-state battles over stupidity. That our ability to fight back and actually win some of these battles.
Hey, when we get into the last topic, I just want to comment on that as well.
So we're in the last topic, which is just Pride Month. So I just loved it as I've noticed, like you have, and we talk a lot off the air. We're very, very close friends. And so if you can't tell the show on our either one of our shows in our banter, every once in a while we drop an inside joke that we only laugh at because nobody else. That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, we're two big old creeds, so nothing makes sense really. We just keep you're along for the ride. You're sitting in our living room right now, just being gassed. But anyway, I think one of the couple reasons why Pride Month seems to be so big this year is one, we've had so many restrictions the last couple of years that nobody's done a real big in-person Pride. So I think there's a lot of pent-up energy and excitement. I think, too, that in the long run, all this fuckery coming from the Republican Party and being anti-LGBT is coming full cycle to bite them in the ass. And I think some people are saying, this is my way, and I'm talking about straight people, cis people, people that are just allies, are saying, you know what? I'm going to buy that $7 coffee from Starbucks because I got a rainbow flag. Exactly. It's my way of saying, my own small way, because I can't afford to give the $5,000 check to the HRC to defend the gays. But I can buy that $7 coffee and support a company. I cannot buy that product because they're on the list of being anti-gay or contributing to anti-gay politicians. And the best part of rainbow commercialism is the fact that people can vote with their dollars every single day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true capitalism. True free market.
Market forces. When people see something being done wrong,
they call it cancel culture,
or rewarding companies that are doing the right thing, like the Carolina Panthers, by hiring a qualified cheerleader that happens to be trans, and not letting that be a barrier to her ability to try out for the team and ultimately make the team. She made the cheerleading squad by her own merits. And so when we start seeing stuff like that, we start seeing people vote with their dollars, whether it's too high gas prices. So twice a week they don't drive their car. They walk or they bike. Kind of like
I did that this week.
That's how I sucked you into the veganism cult.
That's right. Monday through Thursday.
I got y'all to skip one day with no animal products.
I do 4 days.
Now you're doing like 3-4 days now.
4 days.
But you've benefited from it. So the ultimate is that by helping Pride organizations, and especially people of color Pride organizations like Charlotte Black Pride, for example, and supporting all Pride organizations, but especially black and brown organizations of any kind, is that we vote with our dollars. We vote, we say that's unacceptable, and here's why. I'm going to buy the $20 T-shirt. And I think when it's done that way, I'm okay with rainbow capitalism because I think it normalizes our community. We get so much hate, whether we have a social media account or even some of the kind of side eye looks I get when I wear my different outrageous rainbow outfits. But I think it's almost like a homecoming month for us. There's that excitement. There's that. It just every day feels like a win in June. And I don't know about you, but we both grew up in an era where none of this happened.
I never thought
our community was not viewed like this at all.
I never thought. I was thinking about this the other day, but because I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about just things. I really don't remember my young days and stuff, I never thought that I would be able to be me.
100%.
I never thought that. Yeah.
And you and I are pretty close to the same age, so we grew up in the same era. We faced things that especially the baby Z's have no idea. They know from watching different Pride documentaries and stuff like that, but it's different than being in that era when we were not accepted at all, and especially if you didn't live in New York or LA.
Yeah.
You had a mild amount of acceptance in New York and LA in the 80s and 90s. And I mean a mild amount. But where we grew up in Texas, I mean, gay bashing was common, even in the big cities. Like you could, you'd be coming out of a Houston or a Dallas gay bar, and you might get a brick in your face or a baseball bat in your face. It was common for LGBT people to get killed in and out of queer spaces by haters. It was not unusual. Yeah, it just wasn't covered in the press much. Like it didn't show up in the press at all because they didn't want to be known for being a hateful city. Exactly. But
and also some of the people that I say back in the day, like in the 90s and so forth, there were some people that were not out, and they would go to gay clubs, and they really didn't have a lot of friends, and they would maybe walk back to their car by themselves, and something would do, and they would not report it, because by reporting it meant that everyone would know something. What were you doing there? Why were you in Boys Town?
If you were coming out of a gay club, in the neighborhood. Because many big cities had specific areas that had the gay clubs and things like that.
That's so bizarre to think about. That's what we lived through.
And now people don't realize that, or many young people in our community and even outside of our community don't realize there was no big pride parades, and they weren't. Even the ones in the coast, in the media centers, they were different. These our pride events now, not that it's bad, it's just evolved. It's just changed because there's so much public acceptance and so many public officials now want to be attached to the pride event. It looks good. Isn't
that bizarre?
It's very bizarre for me because
it's
if you had been running for an office or was an office holder in 1990. And you were a grand marshal, or you marched in a pride parade, and you got photographed, that was your last day in office.
Exactly.
Like it ended. It would be a career.
Now if you don't have a booth and you aren't in the parade,
then you're a Republican.
It's like, why aren't you in the parade?
Then you're a Republican.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Republican Party is the only one that will not participate in Charlotte Pride. For example, every other party does. The Green Party does. The Libertarians do. The Dems, of course, they do. It's so, it's a very bizarre reversal. It tells you how much ground we've won. Yeah. Which I think we always need to take stock in how far we've come, even though we're fighting some very vicious battles, and we should definitely be fighting harder and more publicly as much as we can. But we also have to remember there was a day when you and I could not be having a show on the internet.
I agree.
They would have rounded you and I up. Well, first of all, they'd blocked us off from broadcasting. Yeah. And second, they would have made our life a living hell. I'd be moving to California. I can just tell you, in New York or California or something, we wouldn't be able to do. And you and I are in a lot of political events. We're politically connected. None of that would be happening 20 or 30 years ago, especially North Carolina or Texas, our home state. It just wouldn't even be an option. And so it's very bizarre. I think about it every once in a while. I thought about it today when I saw the announcement for Justine and the Panthers, and I just thought, wow, I'm living in an era that somebody like me is able to be a top shelf NFL cheerleader, but she's actually on the squad. At the start of this season, this foosball season, she's going to be out there cheerleading in the NFL. Like, to me, that's just like mind blowing. As somebody that I played football for 7 years, I grew up in football culture. Texas is it's Gunn's God in football, just about, and not necessarily always in that order either. If you're a preacher, you don't run late on football Sundays, especially Dallas home game.
That's right. That's right.
If they're playing the noon game, you better be wrapping that sermon
exactly.
up and that service at about 11:40-ish. Are you just gonna see some old boys just all right, let's go ahead.
Exactly.
I put the offering in. We're good. Jesus will forgive. And I know my dad, as devout as he was, he was like, come on, fire up the car. Let's swing it around. We got to get home. We went right through all the red lights, on Dallas Cowboys Sundays. But anyway, I don't know, what closing takes you have, but it just, to me, I do get nostalgic during June and during Pride Month, especially the last few years, and looking back and just thinking about, well, it was one of the reasons a lot of us in our generation stayed in the closet for so long of our lives, or intermittently came out to certain people. With certain people, we just kind of let them figure it out, type thing. And
hey, Jen, I have a question. I know the show's over, but just real quickly, do you think it is? Because I thought about this myself with everything that's going on, that it would be more powerful of a statement to just say, "You're stupid," and just go on. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm
all
saying?
This craziness that's going on?
Yes.
I think there's a certain part of me that says that we should never respond to the, we'll go through court cases, we'll battle out in court.
Sure.
And then do you think the LGBT community at a certain point does do that? We don't typically do a lot of marches. We don't do a lot of protesting anymore. I think one of the reasons, and I was contrast this to the 80s when ACT UP and all those.
Yeah. I was a member of ACT UP.
Yeah, there were more active LGBT groups. Yeah. Was because we didn't have a platform like Pride Month. That we didn't have the President of the United States doing a declaration like Obama did and now Biden does. Is that you had no public support from politicians in any political party. So we had to grab the microphone. Now we're getting sold with flaming hot Cheetos. We're the ones with the microphone that they are trying to grab. I get around the town a lot because of some of the work I do. And I'm telling you today, because now we're, a full week into June. Yeah. I can't go in a store without a rainbow flag hitting me in the face. I don't mind it. I enjoy it. I think I kind of giggle. Especially certain places that tend to skew a slightly more conservative clientele. I think it giggles, especially if I'm wearing something rainbowy. And I'll have when people look at me and they kind of smile, some kind of down, some kind of roll their eyes a little bit. But how much in the face we are with the general public. And I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we pour more rainbow fuel on that fire. And
you made me feel good now.
Yeah, I mean, I think happy pride really means that we're happy, and that doesn't mean we don't have work to do. Yeah. But those little victories, like the cheerleader story, after being inundated with awful stories, I think it's nice to have those too. It's nice to have those, and it's okay to savor those wins. Yeah, and I love the fact that she's a woman of color. Amazing human being. Just everything I've read so far just will make people fall in love with it, and they'll look at trans women of color differently after this. I think. I hope so. Because she'll be in front of audiences that don't normally see trans people.
That's true.
Football fans tend to skew a little conservative, so I think it's going to be fascinating to see as the season kicks in and she's out there one, I think they're going to have a tough time figuring out which one's her, because they're not going to really be able to tell.
Yeah.
Unless they go out and memorize her publicity picture.
And if that's what you're looking for, instead of watching the game, that speaks volumes.
Well, someone might have a little bit of a man crush on her.
Exactly.
She's a cutie patootie. She's really pretty.
Yeah,
She's stunningly, I could see her someday being in like TV and movies. She could definitely have a career in that. And sometimes the NFL cheerleaders do go on to hosts of shows and acting and performing. She could easily get into the pageant circuit too. Like I bet she's phenomenal. I'd love to meet her personally. But on that note, we have gone way over.
Yep.
And, we will part ways, and we will carry out the show with a little bit more ABBA. And again, happy Pride Month, boo.
Happy Pride, boo. Bye.
Thanks for watching, y'all. 2 Queers in the Truck. And tune in next week. We'll talk about more things Pride, more things June, and fabulous rainbows. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Thanks for watching, y'all. 2 Queers in the Truck. And tune in next week. We'll talk about more things Pride, more things June, and fabulous rainbows. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.